Did you know that Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s?
Wow.
And Morgan Freeman, he landed his first major movie role in his 50s. So, do you know of any person who started later in life?
I know one person in particular. There's a runner called Forja Singh, and he started running when he was 89 years old. And he is the oldest person to have completed a marathon when he was 100 years old.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, his life story is amazing. It's it's a tragedy, but he took inspiration from it. He only started running when he was 89 years old, after the death of his son, and he's competed numerous marathons, and I think he's like 112 right now.
So, today we're chatting about how it's never too late to start at any age, whether you're over 40, 50, 60, it's just never too late. But why do you think that we can often think it's too late? I mean, I'm 41 and you're 42. And even with us, sometimes when we're starting something new, we can feel a bit scared to take that leap of faith.
I think it's just you become set in your ways. I think when you're younger, it's easier to take risks, but as you get older, it's easier to stay in your comfort zone.
But don't you think when you are older, it's actually easier to take risks because you may have financial freedom or you may have savings, you may have a career to fall back on if you're going to take risks, like starting a new business, etc. Whereas when you're young, you may not have those years of experience to fall back on if you need a backup option.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Counter argument to that could be that if you're going into a new industry, if you're starting up a business, and yes, you may be successful in another career, but when you're starting a business, it may be something new to you. So you have to start learning things from scratch. But you can take those existing skills that you have, those transferable skills, and apply it to that.
So, in your own life, when you are starting something new now in your 40s, how do you feel about it?
It's a bit scary. Even starting YouTube, for example, there are so many things to learn, and I just have the mindset that each time we're making a video, I'm learning something. If it's from the video setup to the audio to the thumbnail creation, and it's quite exciting. So
Yes, I mean, when I look at people who inspire me, I've seen women who are in their 80s and they started bodybuilding. I think, it just breaks all the stereotypes. Like, people who are bodybuilding are much younger. If you're in your 80s, you're sitting at home watching TV, you're not really doing much. And then you have these amazing people who are out there and who don't put a limit to what they can achieve. They don't use age as a reason to not actually pursue their dreams.
that's really interesting because, for example, in the UK, at least 60% of people are overweight. And as you get older, it applies more to men. They're generally more overweight than women, but the numbers are still quite high because I'm assuming that as you get older, you are less inclined to push yourself. Also, it's more difficult compared to when you're younger. So I think when you go into bodybuilding at a later age, it shows that you have a lot of energy for life and to achieve things, because you could just be taking it easy and go for the occasional walk or hike. But to go into bodybuilding, it takes a lot of commitment.
Yes, and even when people are studying, for example, many people think that, okay, you study for your degree in your 20s, but then you have people who are completing their degrees in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s.
Yeah, I think it just helps. I think it helps your brain to learn something new and to have that beginner mindset that as you get older, you, like I said before, you can become too comfortable and say, okay, I just know this. But by learning something new, I think it keeps your brain healthy.
It's really brilliant that people in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s are even moving to different continents and starting over. And they don't put age as a limitation to start over, starting from scratch, in fact, because when you move to a new continent and you're starting over, you have to think about adapting to a different place, adapting to the culture. There are so many factors to take in, but they don't think, oh, I'm not going to pursue this dream because I'm too old to do this. They go ahead and they do it.
From your experience, how have you felt getting older, and are there any limitations that you've had and that you've overcome?
I think that from the time we are young, we think of being old and older sometimes in a negative light. We think that there's a full stop after that. We don't think that you can continue to pursue your dreams. We put limitations on age. But when you actually get to that age, you realize that there shouldn't be limitations, that it's a myth that you have to be a certain age to do a certain thing. You can do whatever you wish to do because at the end of the day, it is your life. And you shouldn't feel conditioned by anyone or anything or society because people are out there living their best lives at any age. I mean, if you look at it, many presidents are in their 70s and 80s. They are running countries at that age. So why do we have limitations for even people taking new classes or going to the gym or anything of the sort that makes them feel good and feel happy? But it's also something that I continue to learn, continue to actually think, no, those limiting beliefs I had about age, they need to be gone. And it doesn't dissolve overnight. It takes time. Because when I was younger, when I thought about what an old person did, it was different to what I now know what older people do. I mean, family members now are traveling on their own, going to places at age 80, enjoying things. I'm not saying that they don't also have health ailments, but you can also have poor health at any age. So if somebody was in their 60s and wanted to pursue a new passion or change their career or try a new skill, what advice would you give to them?
I think it can be quite a complicated answer to give. I think it depends on the industry. So say, for example, you wanted to change career paths. Maybe you wanted to go into programming, for example. Now, you may face some ageism. That's just the honest truth. But that shouldn't deter you from pursuing your passion, because I feel that you have so much life experience that you can bring to any role. And this experience, I think, is invaluable because you can teach certain academic things, but you can't teach communication skills. I think it's something that you have to practice. You can teach it in theory, but because you have so much life experience, it makes you invaluable. So I wouldn't let that stop you from pursuing a new career, even a new hobby.
Yes, I think ageism is a huge thing. And when you think this person is starting over again, if they are in their 60s, for example, a lot of people can think, well, you should have had it all together at this age. But why do you think we put those demands on people? Why society puts those demands where we say, at this age, you should have this done. At this age, these things should be ticked off.
It's just like a measuring stick. And even if it's not society, it can be your group, your peer group that you're in, And it's just natural. It's human instinct to compare yourself with someone else to see at what level you're at. But I think just having the courage to really find your passion, even if your passion changes, even if your interests change. So it doesn't matter what age you're at, but pursuing something that you're interested in and understanding that there will be a learning curve. So there are many YouTubers that are starting, that are over 40, in their 50s and their 60s. It's not just something for the younger generation. And I think the older that you are, you have more experience that you can bring.
When you were younger, what did you think of getting older? Did you put limitations? As a person gets older, did you think that older people didn't do certain things?
Yeah, I mean, when you're younger, it's just natural. You don't really think about when you're going to be 40 or 50 or 60. So, but when you do reach that age, it's just normal. There's a cliche that age is just a number. It's about how you feel on the inside. So when you get to that age, you can feel a bit offended that, no, I can do these things. And because my mind is still the same. So 20 years ago, if I wanted to pursue something, a hobby or an interest, I can still do that now.
And what do you think about people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they are scared to start over?
I think it's that phrase, to start over. I don't really think you are starting over because, like I said before, you bring so much experience. Even if it's something completely different, a new industry, yes, you're starting over with that particular topic or aspect, but you're bringing all of that experience that you've had before. So you've had to overcome more challenges. So it's just simply a numbers game. You've had more years, you've got more years on the clock, so you've overcome more difficulties, and you can bring that to whatever you're pursuing because you know that it's not going to be easy, but with persistence, you can improve with anything that you want to do, even if it's a lifestyle change. For example, if you wanted to travel to a different country or just travel the world, you have that ability to think, yes, I'm going to experience something new. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can overcome challenges. You just know it as a fact that you can overcome things.
Yes, and I think social media is good in a way because it shows you older people who are actually going out and pursuing their dreams. If we didn't have social media and if people in our own networks weren't doing like changing their whole lives at certain ages, at an older age, we wouldn't necessarily know that people who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s are starting over. But you see a lot of UK people going to like Thailand, Bali, etc., and they are in their 50s and their 60s and they are starting over.
As you get older, your priorities change and you have that ability to think about what is personally fulfilling for you. So yes, on one hand, you have the pressure from society giving you the idea that, you're too old to be starting something. But on the other hand, you have a bit more freedom to not care about what other people think. So you can take that time to think about what is really fulfilling for me.
Yes, and also people are living to a later age. Like before, people were living until maybe 60, but now people are living to the 80s, the 90s. So people do have more time as well. So sometimes you can think, oh, I've reached this particular age milestone, like 50, 60, or even when we turned 40, we were not like extremely happy about it. We did feel a bit of sadness saying goodbye to our so-called youth. So it's not like, you embrace getting older naturally. For some people, it doesn't come natural to embrace getting older. It can be a process.
I think the question is about finding your purpose, and your purpose can change over the course of your life. Like I talked about the marathon runner Forja Singh. He started running when he was 89 to deal with the tragic loss of his son. So he had a lot of tragedy in his life, and he used that as a way to cope with that loss. So maybe that there's something that you enjoy. Maybe you want to play the piano or the guitar, and you can just start it up. So it's not about thinking, I'm too old to be doing something. Just find what you are interested in and pursue it, and see where it takes you.
Yes, and I think to have a growth mindset, like to know that, yes, if I'm going to try something new, I may not succeed initially, but I will get there, or I will find ways around it. And also having good support system, having people who don't let age limit them, who believe that you can achieve whatever you wish at any stage of your life. Because these are all like different stages of our lives, so we should be embracing every stage of our life. We shouldn't just think that youth is the best part of our lives and the rest is like less than when we were in our 20s, our 30s, 40s, etc. We should really seek to enjoy every single stage of our lives. Why do you think it can be so difficult to have that kind of mindset of embracing every stage of our lives?
I think it's an interesting question. And I think as you were talking, I was thinking about having a midlife crisis. And I think that's changing as you're getting older. You have the stereotype of us, when you have a midlife crisis, you do something radical, and you can brush it off as just, oh, they're having a midlife crisis. But I think it's just the crisis of life is not pursuing something that you really want to, regardless of your age. So if you're starting over many, many times, even that can be looked down upon. Like you haven't made a decision, you haven't stuck to something. I think as you get older, like I said before, it gives you more freedom to change your mind, to pursue something that you want to, because life is so short, and it's about the quality of your day-to-day existence. So if you want to change, if you want to try something radical, something new, I think it's wonderful if you're in a position to do so you can take those opportunities.
Yes, and if you are, for example, changing careers, etc., or making a very big move, do make sure that you have your finances intact, make sure you have savings, because we're not saying pursue your dreams and be penniless. No, plan accordingly, because at the end of the day, as we get older, we also need to make sure that our finances are intact. So if you are starting over or debating starting over, and you are at a later age, over 40, 50, 60, 70, etc., the advice we'd give is that you can start at any age, plan accordingly, understand your situation well, have a growth mindset, look for a wonderful support network who can actually encourage you as you pursue your goals, and don't let anyone place any limitations on you, and don't let yourself place any limitations. Don't have the self-talk of, I can't do this at this age. We are still learning that. And if you'd like to watch this video about positive self-talk, please do. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is a new channel. And to the 12 subscribers that are on this channel, thank you so much for your support. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.